yeah, the company we ran was called FirstMain, and the idea was to have something local to Bangalore, but also easy enough that internationally people could pronounce it, not have difficulty with things like that. You're absolutely right. There are far more investors today in India than there are people to help them. Right. Key point to note when starting on any entrepreneurial journey is determination. General wealth management investing has been an area of a lot of interest to me for over a decade now.
Hello viewers, welcome back to the latest episode on GIBS IRE Talks Podcast powered by GIBS Business School, a place where innovation meets inspiration. This is Professor Guru Prasad, host for today. Well, talking about India's finance industry journey, I would say it's quite incredible. Dating back to 1991, where we came out with a major economic policy reforms of LPG, which is liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And then a lot of industries saw, I would say, tremendous leap. One such leap was, finance, with having also the powerful regulators like RBI and SEBI. I think the journey was just incredible. I would say post 2020, especially after COVID, Fintech industry in India has been moving up, competing with the global markets. I think that's the next level of finance industry that we are witnessing these days. And today, to deliberate on something similar, we have with us Mr. Kiran Nambiar, who's a serial entrepreneur and the co-founder and CEO of MyFi. I would say making a revolution in wealth management through AI. This is something very interesting to discuss. On behalf of all my viewers, I extend a heartfelt welcome to Kiran Nambiar. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure all ours. So before I get into the subject, I would definitely love to know your initial stage, your upbringing, your school days, your college days. How was it?
Sure.
There's a reason why I asked this question, and many a times I found your school and college days, the courses that you have taken, at times it was nowhere related to the companies or the entrepreneurial journey that you have inside. So I want to know that.
Yeah, sure. So I was born and brought up in Bangalore. Did most of my schooling here, other than about 4 years in Rishi Valley, which is a boarding school in Andhra. And then I went to the UK for my undergrad. Honestly, for me, I think this entrepreneurial bug has been in my system for a very long time since I was a child. I think my dad has been an entrepreneur, was an entrepreneur most of his life, set up many institutions around the country, and so I've always wanted to start something of my own ever since I can remember.
That's right. Because whenever I ask this question, they say my journey was accidental. So I think yours was a choice.
Yeah, mine was absolutely a choice. I went to the UK, studied, then got a job there. The goal really was, to spend a few years, gain some experience before coming back to India and starting my own business, which is pretty much exactly what I ended up doing. So I spent about 10 years in banking tech, starting with Merrill Lynch, then moved on to Morgan Stanley, worked in London as well as New York for about a decade between the two. And in 2017, September is when I moved back to India to start my own.
Here's the interesting question again. You have chosen engineering as your background.
That's right.
So how were you able to develop interest in the banking and the financial?
So, I think we were talking about this earlier, which is fundamentally, I think today all products are tech products, right? I feel at an advantage having that engineering background, understanding how technology works, and that allows me to kind of come up with ideas, concepts, which perhaps may not be as natural for others. So it definitely gives me an edge in today's world. The wealth space specifically and wealth tech in India has been of interest to me since around 2013, actually. Very early days, I was looking at the market, trying to understand what people are doing with their money. And what I realized is that, people are investing in mutual funds, including close family members and friends, but they really didn't understand what a mutual fund was, right? So how do you bridge that gap to kind of help educate them on what these products are, give them more confidence so that they're able to invest more and be a part of this growth journey that India is seeing. So I don't see it as that much of a disconnect. Of course, I didn't study finance, but general wealth management investing has been an area of a lot of interest to me for over a decade now.
What made you to choose the engineering background? Any specific thoughts on that?
I've been playing around with computers since I was like 10 years old, I want to say, from like a 286, 386. And I feel like most people watching this podcast won't even know what that is. But, early day computers where you had DOS and very slow systems with MBs of memory versus the gigabytes we have today.
I remember using the floppy disk.
Yes, absolutely. Floppy disk evolved into the smaller floppy disks and eventually CDs and DVDs, which also seem to be getting extinct today.
You're the luckiest one who have seen all of these generation after generation in the technology.
Absolutely.
Though you said that entrepreneurial journey was anyways of your choice, but then you were working on the world's top corporates, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you had your own luxury, comfort zone.
Yeah.
So was the exit a real challenge for you?
Honestly, no. And I think that's because there was a lot of clarity in my mind of what I wanted to do. A lot of people find decisions like this hard if there is uncertainty, right? Yes, it was absolutely a very comfortable job. Both my wife and I earning six-figure salaries, living in New York. It was an amazing life, right? I still think New York is one of the best cities in the world. So a lot of people often ask me that question, why you leave all of that and come here? Yeah. But I believe then, and I continue to believe today, that India is a place where there is opportunity to make impact. It is a nascent market, and if you want to do something big, this is the place to be. So moving back was an easy decision. While we spoke about it for a long time, the actual decision to move was overnight.
Which year was that?
2017 May is when we made that decision, and we were in Bangalore on September 11, 2017.
It was a collective decision. How was the support from your family and your wife?
Yeah, so my wife and I, we had just had our daughter. She was born in March 2017. In fact, it's her birthday today. So originally our plan was to kind of stick around in the US till she was 2, 3 years old and then come back. But we had just been talking about this for so long, and I had a rough day at work, came back, and we were just talking about it, and we were both like, why are we here if where we actually want to be is India? We have a young daughter, all our family is there. They can, I'm sure they'd love to have us and a granddaughter around as well. So that decision was easy. I think both our parents asked us a couple of times, "Are you sure?" But
that's the whole point I asked this question.
Yeah, no, they were very
I think,
supportive.
as you said, you were very clear.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Very perfect thought of it.
yeah.
That's nice. So you ventured into Bangalore, and how was the initial journey in Bangalore?
So, we moved to Bangalore to with the mindset that we're starting our own business. We started with service. It was a digital product agency where we designed and built websites, mobile apps, any digital experience. My wife and I started this together. So she was a UX designer, and I had the engineering background. And the idea really was to bring design and tech together to build high quality products. So that was a very tough start. Nobody wanted to pay for a high quality product, a digital product, when people were saying, "I'll build your website for 10,000 rupees," right?
So you're talking about 2017?
This is 2017, right? The 17, 18. We started in September, October, and so we spent about 2 years focused on building high quality, but not getting paid much for it. The goal really was to build a portfolio of products that we could showcase and say, look, this is what we built, and then get clients saying, hey, we want something like that. That really worked. In that time frame, we built a pretty good portfolio of websites and a couple of apps that we started to see an inflow of clients without us, pushing sales too hard. And then we were able to really kind of monetize that business much better, and ran that till Feb 2022, which is when we got acquired by Tiffin, who's a fintech based out of the US, who was a client of ours. Yeah, the company we ran was called FirstMain, and the idea was to have something local to Bangalore, but also easy enough that internationally people could pronounce it, not have difficulty with things like that. Although we once had a client who came to Bangalore, wasn't from here, put in FirstMain in Google Maps and went to that location. Fortunately, it was close enough to our office that he just had to walk over. But yeah.
Yeah, I heard you started off with 3 people on FirstMain and went on to have a revenue over $1.5 million. The journey would have been tremendous.
Yeah, that's right. So we started with it was basically me, Kinnari, and we had one engineer when we started. And between us, we just built a few sites.
It was completely bootstrapped.
Completely bootstrapped, and we grew the team to around 12 people over 2 years. So still quite small in that sense. But when we started seeing, there were more clients coming in than we could handle, we decided, okay, you know what? Now we can afford to scale, and let's build we have a quality core team, so let's expand. So we went from about 12 people to 60 in 1 year. So it was pretty fast. Yeah. Expansion is hard, especially if you want to maintain quality. I think expanding with just volume is not so hard to do necessarily, but we wanted to ensure that we continued to maintain the quality we had. And yeah, around 60 when we basically sold to Tiffin.
Yeah, I want to catch up this point because quite often when we talk to our students, we say about the timing is very important, both the entry as well as exit. So you took an exit from FirstMain.
That's right.
So how was that situation there? So was a planned exit?
No, it was an unplanned exit actually. Our goal was to really grow this business a bit more. For me personally, like I was saying, WealthTech in India was a very interesting space to kind of be in and build a product in. So the goal was to build a product. But working with Tiffin, they are a wealth tech firm as well. It was originally focused on the US. So the synergies made sense in the sense that I felt like there was a lot of value that I could add to what they were doing, and learn a lot as well. So that sale at that point in time just made a lot of sense, right? Because for me, WealthTech India was the idea. Here's a WealthTech in the US coming saying, you know what, you guys are doing a lot of great work for us. So come in-house, be a part of the journey. And Vinay, who's a founder of Tiffin, was very supportive of doing something in India if the timing was right and the product made sense. So I continued to work on the US products for about 2 years. And then end of 2023, Jan 2024 is when we started on MyFi with Tiffin.
Take us to that journey. How was it? How's it going? I mean, it's still in the progression stage.
Yeah, very early stages. Look, we like I was saying, we started development in January 24. We launched the product on 1st of July 24. So pretty fast in that sense. Early adoption was far better than we anticipated. We have uh, around 580, 590 crores in assets that are linked on our platform. What that means is a user comes in, connects their account, and they're able to get some recommendations on it, right? So we did not think that that growth would have happened so quickly because we were also being quite frugal in terms of how we spend on marketing and things like that. So early days have been very good in terms of adoption and retention. We are now working on kind of monetizing the business. That in the consumer space, especially in India, is always challenging. So, we're trying a few things out there. We have a subscription model for certain parts of the app. And we also recently launched the ability to get a credit line against your mutual fund investments. So if you have certain types of needs, you can take essentially like a secured loan against your mutual funds, and you don't have to access it unless you need to, which is
Associated with a couple of financial institutions like NBFCs.
correct. So we have two NBFCs that are providing this on the back end. One is DSP Finance, the other is Tata Capital. And the interest rates are very competitive at 10.5%. And it's a fully digitized journey, right? With India's digital public infrastructure, we're able to a user's able to go through the entire process, get money in their bank account in 10 minutes. It's quite amazing.
Associated with you or with the partners?
It's all with a partner. So we're just providing a gateway to the NBFC.
So, in our initial conversation, we agreed to the fact that there is, even today, lack great amount of knowledge and awareness about the whole system, about the whole stock market,
Yeah.
mutual funds and everything.
Yeah.
And here we are talking something about the next level, which is AI, which is contributing to the wealth management. But there's an awareness problem, and you have technology which is also creating its own wave. Like I've heard a lot of them saying, AI is dangerous.
Right.
I would not want to comment on that. But now, a lack of awareness plus AI, is it appealing to the customers, or are you targeting only the niche part of the customer?
So it's a very good question, and I often get a lot of questions around AI in this space. WealthTech, can you rely on it? How do we trust it? Right. So you're absolutely right. There are far more investors today in India than there are people to help them. Right. I feel like I'm rounding down, but there are probably around 100 million unique investors in the country today, between mutual funds, stocks, etc.
Yes.
If you look at people who are able to advise them, guide them in any form, even if I round up, actual active people are probably like 80,000, right? That ratio is just impossible to manage with human physical touch, right? So the only solution to that is AI and technology. Now we can debate how good or bad the AI is, but we have to agree that we need to use technology here, right? That's where a product like MyFi comes in. And what we do is, we're SEBI registered, which means we're accountable also, which helps with that trust element. We're not just any app on the street who's kind of giving you a recommendation without thinking about it. In addition, we are using AI for the conversational elements, and we are using slightly more traditional financial models that are deterministic to do the analysis and recommendations, right? So it's not like ChatGPT giving you a recommendation. Yeah. So we are combining different elements, and these financial models are built, tested, and vetted by humans with investments background. So that should give the user even more trust. Now, communicating all of that to the user is also a challenge.
That's what I asked. I want to ask whether the layman would understand this.
So, short answer is not yet, because we do a lot of communication around this. I talk a lot about it. So it will take time, but we are doing whatever we can to kind of bring in the fact that we are SEBI registered. We do have an investments team working on these models. AI is being used to understand what you're saying, personalize things, not to kind of completely come up with a recommendation. So it's a journey.
Both the regulators have come up with their own policies and procedures to tackle all the challenges. But there are also lot many ongoing cyber crimes that is happening in the country. So
Yeah.
can this also be a challenge of people not venturing into such products?
I think it's a very valid concern, especially as you get into the older generations who are not as digitally native. It's an even bigger problem, right? Both my mother, my wife's mother, they have these investments accounts. KYC is not done. They get OTPs. It really kind of concerns them when people are calling them about things. And there is a lot of cybercrime happening today, right? I really think more needs to be done to kind of mitigate this by the governments and cyber crimes departments. But even over there, the solution really needs to be to leverage AI more. When it comes to investing, I would say keep it simple. Don't pick your stocks and time the market and do any of those things. Just be disciplined on how you invest. Either do it through someone you trust, or if you're comfortable using a digital app, then you should just do that, because most of them are very secure, and never share an OTP with anyone.
Adding to all these, the other challenges that you mentioned, at the same time, the market volatility these days. So, put together, the person, especially with half knowledge, I think will always love to take an exit at this point of time, which is not right.
Yeah, the largest growth we've seen in participation in the markets has been during this COVID period, right? And the kind of upside that people have seen is like 100%, 200%, crazy numbers, right? So this is really the first correction that individuals are seeing. So there is a little bit of panic in that sense, saying, "Oh my God, markets are down. I should get out." But really, as a disciplined investor and taking a long-term view, you should not. Right? This is, if you have an SIP, continue it. Don't stop it. Right? Otherwise, you're going to lose out. Actually, so you need to take at a minimum a 3-year view, if not like a 5-year view on investments. And markets do correct in both directions, so it'll continue to grow as well.
This question, I think you're the right person to answer. You work in UK, you work in US, and you're experimenting in India, especially in terms of fintech industry. What do you find something special and unique in India, or is there many things that we have to achieve to meet the global standards of UK and US?
See, global standards, I honestly think are products and apps and things like that are available in this country, together with the digital public infrastructure, whether that's account aggregator, UPI payments, etc., is next level. There is no country in the world that is as good as what we have. I think where we do have to catch up is the maturity of the market in terms of volatility, in terms of what individual investors understand, how they invest, financial knowledge, all of those things, right? And
that's more important. More than the maturity of the market, maturity of the investors.
Yeah, maturity of the investors is extremely important, and I really think products like MyFi, and I don't think a single app can solve this problem. Absolutely. I mean, the market is too big. So even 10 apps aren't enough for this, right? So the volume of problem is so large that we need more people who are helping these investors make educated decisions.
Do you get calls and requests when there is ups and downs in the market?
We don't, but that might also be because we don't really do phone support. We're also not the platform that the user executes on.
Right.
We are the platform on which they view their investments on. Having said that, how has my portfolio performed last week is the most asked question on our platform. Irrespective of whatever new feature we bring out, we've tried changing the position of how you could ask this question. It still comes out on top. how's my portfolio doing and what are my holdings to see your net worth are top of the list, followed by something we call a portfolio score, which gives you a quick number on how we think your portfolio is doing.
What's the biggest challenge that you see in MyFi?
Um, Monetization. um, we have in the consumer world with all the products that are out there, digital products especially, people are used to getting things for free. So as soon as you say you need to pay for something, there is a lot of apprehension. I've seen this with friends, colleagues saying, "Oh, can I get a coupon code to get this for free?" But even though we've now reduced it to like 199 for 6 months, so there is an apprehension to pay. However, I do strongly believe that once you show enough value to the user, they are willing to pay. So we're definitely seeing signs of that. There are users who are, the more recent users we've acquired, higher quality, around 10 to 15% of them are paying users, and I do hope that percentage grows over time.
I always say this for any business venture to get to the next level, the role of a leader is very, very important. So, what is the leadership style of Kiran? How do you handle your employees and how do you handle your clients?
I think leadership styles need to adapt as well. So for me, it's very important at the stage we're at right now that if you commit to something, you are really all in, right? So from every employee, whether you're a engineer in the marketing team, product design, investments, whatever that is, if you commit to kind of getting something done, doing something for the product, it needs to be done with high quality and on time, right? If you are not able to deliver it for whatever reason, let's have that conversation. This there is a lot culturally. I think we've a lot of us have been okay with, what, oh, 1 week delay, 1 month delay, it's okay, right? This chalta hai attitude is known in India. I personally really don't.
It's not a great sign.
Yeah, not a great sign. And I'm very easy to work with, and people find me very approachable. But when you don't adhere to certain things like this, uh, then I think there needs to be some consequence for that.
The journey with MyFi has been amazing. It's a great start, I would say. What's next in the list for Kiran or for MyFi?
So for Kiran and MyFi, it's really scaling the app. We're at roughly 10,000 users today. This is really a product that needs to reach 100,000, a million people, if not more. Getting into multilingual capabilities, allowing more features like execution through the app, really being your holistic wealth assistant is something that we are focused on. So the next 6 months, 12 months will really be key to kind of prove that we can reach this audience and we are able to add value, and that's what we're focused on.
That's great. That's the beauty of such platforms. You tend to hear the mindset and listen to the incredible journey of entrepreneurs. As I said, this is a platform which is viewed by a lot of budding entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
There are a lot of us, listening to you. A piece of advice for them, for the budding entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key point to note when starting on any entrepreneurial journey is determination, right? It is a very tough journey and there will be many obstacles along the way. You just need to have clarity on what you want to do and keep that determination. That's the single most important thing, and it's not an easy journey, so you should be ready for that.
That's great. I think fabulous interaction, I would say. Here we had somebody who said that entrepreneurial journey was a choice. Because many of them I heard saying it was an accident, but they still tend to do some amazing things over there. But this podcast today, I think, gave us a lot of understanding about the entrepreneurial mindset. The the start of the venture, the right exit, then finding out the right opportunity, getting into that, a clear vision, and we also understood the leadership style that the leader, the entrepreneur displayed. I think lots of takeaways. This is one podcast I believe all my budding entrepreneurs should definitely not miss. This was a fabulous interaction. On behalf of all my viewers, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Kiran Nambiar for sparing the time. Thank you so much, sir. It was
Thank you.
a pleasure having you with us.
Pleasure to be here.
Don't forget to subscribe us and like us in all our social media channels. GIBS IRE Talks, GIBS Business School. For now, this is Guru Prasad signing off. Thank you for watching.